You're listening to Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast. Comics, television, movies, and more. If it impacts fan culture, we have something to say about it. And now, your hosts, Michael, Jordan, Cliff, and Seth.
Hey everybody, welcome back. It's your friends at Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast with another brand new episode. My name is Jordan Lowe.
I'm Cliff Barnes.
Seth, for now.
I'm hyped, you guys. I'm up. I'm up. You got me going. Adrenaline pumping.
Sounds like you're getting ready to do 8 Mile.
I do have spaghetti on my shirt, but that's unrelated. How we doing?
All right.
I did have a question for you guys before we started tonight. You guys both have kids that are youngish. So I had a teen girl come in the store this week, and I didn't quite know what was happening, whether it was some new fad, some fashion accessory, or what it was. But she was carrying.
You came to the right guys. Fashion.
Mm-hmm.
You have people closer to teens than I do.
Finger on the
you
pulse.
just saw my teen walk by in his underwear.
She was carrying a baseball bat.
Right.
And
Okay.
Baseball season, Jordan. I don't know if you know that.
But yeah, not like wearing a softball uniform with a bag of gear.
Oh, ironically.
That was it. It was an old wooden bat with like tape around the handle, so it didn't look like something that had been used recently.
Sounds like a Harley Quinn thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and she was just wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and like her friend was with her, and like that she would lean the bat against the shelf and flip through a book, pick it up, put it on her shoulder, and just walking around with a baseball bat. And so my friend Logan was in there, friend of the podcast, friend of mine and yours.
Heard of him.
And we kind of looked at each other and just kind of kept talking, and neither of us said anything. But we're like, we both so... And Logan will say anything to anybody at any time if you've ever met him. So he managed to keep his his comments to himself. But I was like, if he wasn't here, like they outnumber me. Were they going to jump me and like take the register?
They're like,
were they getting a kickstart on like some post-apocalyptic thing?
Mm-hmm.
Were they getting ready for were they going to purge me? Like I didn't know what
story
was
got here. Be a shame if something were to happen to it.
Roaming gangs of Marietta. That's what we're known for.
So I didn't know if you'd seen that around the middle school or anywhere else, but girls are walking around with bats now, you guys. That's 2020.
Bats are fine. Riverdale jackets, no.
And when they left, me and Logan both turned to each other, and we both said we wanted to say, "What is that? A Jose Canseco bat?" Tell me you didn't pay money for this.
Logan better watch out. One time we were at the grocery store he works at, and my wife was over in the frozen food section. Had
with her bat.
He's lucky she didn't have a bat. And she had the door open, and Logan was, it's just a walk-in freezer behind there. And Logan was back there doing something and saw her and like reached out and screamed.
Oh my God.
Through the bags of frozen food. And naturally she screamed and jumped. He thought it was funny.
He's like a manager. He's the one in charge there.
And for like the next 6 months, she was like paranoid of being over in that department because she was always scared he was gonna
vegetables. No more.
Yeah, she was always scared he was gonna reach out and accost her.
Yeah, that'd leave a mark.
So Logan, if anyone wondered, was the co-star, co-creator of Running the Asylum, that we have done a few audio versions of scripts we never filmed. If you remember, it was a YouTube short there for a while about me as a comic store owner and him as a customer. And he has not been involved in these new recordings, but he finally listened to them and gave us his seal of approval and said he thinks they're better than the original films we made. And he said, well, why didn't we do it in that format from the beginning? So he thinks what we have done, recreating these old scripts via audio, is far superior, without him, is far superior to what we made with him. So
we need to add a Foley
glad
artist.
to have his seal of approval.
We do.
We need to add some Foley.
Yeah.
Clop, clop, clop. In comes.
Creak. Frozen food door opens.
One of those ones we did. I did go back and sampled the original YouTube from Jordan's original YouTube videos. The doorbell sound, at the old store, and put it in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
If I forgot to tell you, that was a very nice touch. And I had I swear, like when I heard that, I looked at the door because I was so attuned. After a decade, when I heard that ding, I knew someone was coming in the door. I was like,
"You're like, I'm trying to record a podcast."
Yeah.
That's pretty nice.
We had other comments this week too. Mr. Terry W. Irvin II left a comment. He is an author himself of fantasy and sci-fi novels, quite a few of them, very prolific. www.irvin-author.com, ERVIN-author.com, if you want to check out any of his novels. He said, listen to this, guys, he enjoyed the report on book sales and how they broke down across markets and possible trends.
So
there you go. The people have spoken.
Pie charts.
Did he write Dogman?
I don't think he wrote Dogman.
I bet he wishes he wrote Dogman. We all do.
So from that, we're going to get that report every year because someone out there liked it. So we're going to break down all these numbers and pie charts every single year.
Good, because it always leads to other good stuff, fake noodles and all kinds.
Yeah.
Of stuff.
All right. Speaking of novels and writing and books and words, are you reading even more time travel books?
I've got about 5 months worth of time travel reports.
Wow. Okay. Where do you find the time?
It's just a jump to the left. With your hands on your hips.
So this month, or this couple weeks, the book here is. This is the one that started it all. This is the one that made me want to see if there are other time travel books that I want to read. It's called The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. I want to say he's a English author. I'm not sure. Anyway, a friend of mine recommended, friend of the podcast, Eric Robinson, at Reddit, prolific reader. He's not an author, but he is quite the reader. And he said, I'm reading this book. It's really good. And it is really good. I have read a few Agatha Christie books over the last few years. Tried to look up what the better ones were, because there's a lot of them. So I was trying to read the most well-known, good, highly acclaimed ones. And I don't know if I can go back to them after reading this, because this book is like you're reading an Agatha Christie novel, where everybody comes to the mansion and somebody gets killed and who did it, But it's also a time travel book in that a guy comes to and doesn't really know who he is, doesn't recognize his body, and just kind of has to go with it until a whole boy is right. And then it is this happens over 7 days, I think, but it's the same day. I feel like it's been a while since I read it, over and over. And I really don't want to give in a way, but there is some time jumping in there. He can go back to certain times in the day depending on things. It's a very clever idea. Like, I was hyper impressed with it, and it's so twisty though that I read about half the book and I'm just like, keeping it all straight in my head, but it's just twists upon twists of like trying to keep track of when he was where and who and yada yada, and trying to figure out who the killer is. And at one point, I missed a couple things. I was like, wait a minute, what was that? I know it was just, I'm sure it was in there. It's so much. And I texted Eric and said, I've only missed a couple things. He's like, you just give up, because you are gonna, it's just hang on for the ride. And it became like that. It was just like so much, so dense and all of that eventually I was like, it's not my job to make sure this all connects, but I really thought it was good. I don't know that it totally stuck the landing for me, but I still loved the ride. So it made me want to go look for other time travel books and see what other people had been doing. And so it's the 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. If you like murder mysteries and time travel, this is it, man.
Is it a recent book? It looks fairly new.
Yeah, it's not too old. I don't know what year, but I'm sure it's from this decade.
But it's set in modern day as well. It's not.
It doesn't. You can't tell. It's like you all went back to the old mansion in England. So it's like Clue. Who knows what time it is? Yeah, it's just a couple years old. Good stuff.
Okay.
All right.
I was just seeing how long we could go there.
I'm still not used to talking about books. That's weird. So let's go back to our old friend, the television.
Just some rabbit ears.
Mm-hmm.
What in the good Lord is going on?
Nothing. Them just some fellas I play car pranks with.
The worst thing about prison was the Dementors. Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die.
There are no strings on me.
So if you want to make more money and
Keep the money that you make.
better call Saul.
He looks like a panda and a Disney princess had a baby.
Somebody royally forked up. Somebody forked up.
Randall! Okay, stay in your room!
First, I thought you and the others were gods. Then I realized you're just men. And I know men.
You guys, look at my dirty girl.
Roll on snare drum. Curtain. Good joke.
Television.
Yeah.
Well, the Emmys were, as we record, the Emmys were just last weekend. We did most of an episode all about the Emmy nominees and our opinions and who we thought would win or should win. So we won't go back over all that, but I'll give you some of the big winners here. With a
There's
record,
three winners.
Yeah,
3 shows.
With a record 7 primetime awards and 9 total, Schitt's Creek kind of took the whole first half of the night.
Yeah,
Best
good
comedy.
Yeah.
Best actress, Catherine O'Hara winning her first award. Best actor, Eugene Levy. Best supporting actress, Annie Murphy. Best supporting actor, Daniel Levy. Writing, directing, basically swept all the comedy awards.
Good on them.
I mean, it's almost enough to get me to try to watch that show for the 3rd time.
I don't know, it kind of annoyed me. I'm like, all right, it's enough.
I don't believe it. I still don't believe it. I watched a season and a half of the show, and I'm like, no, I shouldn't have put this much effort into some pretentious people walking around going, oh, where's this? Oh, where's my purse? Shut up. It's not that great.
There was an outpouring of excitement the next morning. People were posting their reactions to to all the wins for the actors and the writing and you know, I was the one out of the group that said to watch it. I really liked it, and
I like all those people. They seem very nice.
It was.
I just really am happy for them, but it
was a very important show to I feel like a certain group of people that don't get a lot of attention on TV. So
Canadians.
Yes, exactly. It was Canadians.
All right, Variety Talk series went to Last Week Tonight with John Oliver. Variety Sketch series went to Saturday Night Live. And they also won for Best Guest Actress and Guest Actor, Maya Rudolph and Eddie Murphy. Best Animated went to Rick and Morty. Best Actress for a Drama went to Zendaya for Euphoria. I believe it was kind of an upset. She's the youngest ever winner of that award.
It's a great show.
I really like that first season.
Mm-hmm.
There's only been one season, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really liked it. It's not, I would not say, if you're looking for a feel-good show, go check out Euphoria. But if you like a good show, it's there.
Best Actor for a Limited Series or Movie was Mark Ruffalo for I Know This Much Is True on HBO. Best Supporting Actress for a Drama, Julia Garner for Ozark, Repeating.
She's good.
Best Supporting Actor for a Drama, Billy Crudup for The Morning Show.
If I could find a way to watch Apple TV on my Seth TV, I would get it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have an Apple TV, whatever, contraption. And my TV won't break, so I don't have a smart TV. Don't have a Roku. There's no Apple app on PlayStation. There's no way for me to watch it except on my phone or computer. And that's not convenient for watching a quality show. And there's several things that I've got, like, I would like to watch, and that's one of them. I heard he does a great job in that. But can't watch.
Supporting Actress for a Limited Series or Movie, it was Uzo Aduba for Mrs. America.
That was good.
Best TV Movie, Bad Education, again from HBO.
We all like that, right? Everybody. I like that.
I don't remember watching it.
That's the Hugh Jackman principal, true story.
I did not watch it.
It's good.
Then one of our favorites of the year, Watchmen, was the most nominated coming in. It won some of the big ones. Best Limited Series. Regina King won Best Actress. Best Supporting Actor for Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. And Best Writing for a Limited Series or Special. And then, much like the comedy was kind of one show, the drama was the same thing with Succession. One for Best Drama, Best Actor Jeremy Strong, Guest Actress Cherry Jones, one for Writing, one for Directing. So there wasn't a whole lot of variety this year.
Yeah, I really like Succession. Should have had a Kieran Culkin Award. Matthew McFadden, I think, is the other guy that was so good in that. But it's a good show.
Yeah, kind of an odd evening with everybody Zooming, and Jimmy Kimmel was the host, and everything was socially distanced, and it went off pretty well. There weren't any weird technical glitches or anything, but
I'm not sure how they did it for sure, but I definitely saw a clip of, like, I would assume that they took the awards to the person's house, whatever, and gave it to him. But I definitely saw a clip of a guy that was nominated looking out the window, and a presenter is out there holding his award, and they announced who won, and it wasn't him, and that person went and got in the car and drove away.
Wow.
It's like, so that's crazy.
Well, it was sponsored by Kia something, whatever.
We drove all the way here with a freaking award to tease you, and then we left.
You can see it,
but yeah, I don't know how you keep it under wraps. But yeah, it was like sponsored by Kia. So the conceit was, we got to get these awards to these people's houses. We better drive this new Kia that handles well and accelerates this. So that was the idea, that there was a Kia parked outside everyone's house. I didn't think it was actually real, but that was the gist of the story. And then some of them, they built these boxes that sat in their room, and if you won, it like popped open and confetti jumped out and your statue was inside. But the 4 other people had empty boxes. So again, it's a little bit crueler than normal, just having to sit in an audience. But what are you gonna do? It's 2020. Cruelty is the name of the game.
That's right.
So that was it? Those were the big winners?
Yeah, there's only 3 big winners.
Yeah.
Let's just get right to it. I heard you say before the episode you had some happy days to talk.
So are you off the days?
I have. There's stuff I've watched that that we haven't talked about, but I have not watched for the last several days.
You no longer have Me TV, which is where I've been watching all of these. So we ended our debate with no consensus of our Jump the Shark v. Burn Down Arnold's.
Right.
We're toward the end of season 6 here.
Well, I'll tell you what I saw.
Okay.
Joni smoked.
Oh, smoking's not cool. Shortcake.
It's not cool. Hey, you can't do that. We had Dear Aunt Fanny. That was Richie took over for the Dear Abby in the local paper.
Right.
And
the classic paint the line down the center of
Brady
the
Bunch,
apartment. Yeah.
The old Brady Bunch scheme. Put a line down the middle. But for Ralph and Potsy, they wrote to Dear Aunt Fanny, not knowing it was Richie. What the crazy hijinks. What the heck? And then it's just it was so stupid. Like they come into Arnold's. Ralph's in his robe with his bathtub scrub brush. I'm like, guys, season 6 is out of control.
How else are you going to know he was trying to take it back?
Right.
We had a new Leather Tuscadero song, more fake saxophone here, but they go on the freaking trying to get on the Dick Clark show equivalent, playing the song. Somebody steals the song. When they finally get everything fixed, I mean, that was like a fine song or whatever, but is that what they play? No. We are merchandising and trying to hit, they were trying to go for clicks. In 1970, whatever, they did the Fonzie. There was, and I had totally forgot about do the Fonzie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
His own dance and everything.
Yeah.
It was so much.
I think it involved thumbs going.
Yes, and you drop to the ground and.
I think that was the Scarn you're thinking of.
It's very much like the Scarn. That's exactly right. You need to match those up. I bet. Same tempo. Then we had a totally ridiculous episode trying to act like Leather would ever date Ralph Mouth. That was crazy.
I actually liked that episode.
Yeah, it is sweet. It
had that. Yeah, it was that idea of like, I'm tired of just being the jokester. She was tired of just being the tough rock
Leather
chick.
person. Yes.
Yeah. And then like they dressed them up to go to the ball, and like Susie Quattro looked gorgeous with the dress on and the hair up.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Yeah, way out of Ralph's league.
But she's way out of that band's league. What? She just plays with Ralph and Potsy and fake sax Richie? No. She shouldn't even be on this show. I don't know what's happening. Then we had a Scooby-Doo episode where they're all got in caskets and we're switching around, hiding, pretending to be dead bodies when the gangsters were freaking coming. We had the Candyman, Sticky, and Eugene. It was like
Bull from Night Court.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my gosh. And then and the Widow Fonzarelli.
Right.
And then we had the cameo from Laverne and Shirley. They all come in, Lenny and Squiggy and everything. That is a good moment where they're like
ragu.
leaning back. looking at Widow, the Widow Von Trapp.
And Arnold came back. Ralph,
Yeah,
or Pat Morita.
Yeah, he had not been back for several seasons. He came back for Fonzie's funeral.
They're trying to stop counterfeiters. How else are you going to do it without faking your own death?
You have to. The money's in the casket. What are you going to do? You can't take it out. How are you going to catch it? They even have the spinning wall. I mean, it's Scooby-Doo. That's all it was. And we had Mork returned. Yeah, because
kind of disappointing because it was just a clip show.
Yeah, that's. I was like, okay, Mork, and then nope, it was just like, look at the Earthlings, they do things. Then we had a French guy come, and we had fencing duels. Anytime you want to tell me, anytime you want to relent and admit that it falls apart way before Arnold.
Not when I'm enjoying it this much.
And we have Chachi selling Incrediwax. He's the basic. Chachi's the ShamWow guy. That's where I left off. That's how far back I am.
Okay, so you didn't see the Farmer's Daughters?
No. Did they break down by the side of the road something?
So that was the first episode of season 7. They went on another vacation. And Fonz heard tell there's these legendary farmers' daughters who live nearby, but the farmer will chase you off if you ever get near them.
They leave a pie out on the windowsill.
And and not 6 episodes earlier, Fonz was berating Richie for trying to cheat on Lori Beth. He kissed another girl. He's like, I don't hang out with cheaters. And he's like, Richie, come on, we got to go meet these farmers' daughters. So Fonz completely changes his tune.
Yeah, but when you're on vacation, right. He got to. At the beginning of season 6, Westward Ho, Richie got to date Thunder.
True. Thunder.
When you're in Westward Ho, what happens in Westward Ho stays in with that Westward Ho.
But to sneak, so Fonzie had a plan because any suitor who ever came to the farm, the dad would chase you off with a shotgun. So they got into a cow suit. Like front legs, back legs. They dressed up like a cow and snuck onto the farm. And it was funny. Fonzie hands on the suit, and Richie's like, "Which half am I, Fonz?" And Fonz just looks at him like, "What half do you think you are?" And it was an amazing, just non-verbal joke of like, "Come on, Richie." Also, Laverne and Shirley show up in that episode. They were just happened to be by the same lake.
Shamil Shamazel.
Right. After that, there was this weird some arch foe of Fonzie comes in. The merchant marines have arrived. It's like Fleet Week. I don't know where the Navy comes from into Milwaukee, but like all these sailors. Arnold was full of sailors, and one of them was Fonzie's old enemy. But Father Del Vecchio talked him into no violence, Fonz. So we had Al as his brother, Father Del Vecchio. Marion crashed the car through Arnold's window.
What? The DeSoto?
She left it. Yeah, she left it parked on the top of a hill, and it slid down and crashed into it.
Women.
And Howie was like really mean to her and like called her irresponsible, and so she decided to go to prison. She could have paid a fine or go to prison for 5 days. So to teach Howard, to not be mean to her, she went to prison instead.
Was Kirk there?
Yes, Officer Kirk is the one who booked her.
Probably hadn't seen him since Fonzie's funeral.
Yes. And then the last one I watched, Chachi sells his soul to the devil's nephew. Because they won't invite Chachi to the party on campus. Joni won't go out with him. He's too young, so he sells his soul to be more mature and for people to like him more. And the devil's nephew shows up, Melvin Scratch, as a weird little twitchy guy.
If you had told me it was Melvin Trump, I would have been like,
I actually
just put two and two together.
find it easier to believe that in Milwaukee there's a port to hell than there is to the sea.
So Chachi signs his name on a dotted line, and everybody starts falling in love with him. But it's too much. He can't handle all the attention. He doesn't like it. So Fonzie has to bargain with the devil's nephew, and decides if he can go 24 hours without a girl kissing him, he will let Chachi's soul go. And if not, they both have to sell their souls.
Devil went down to Milwaukee.
Right. So of course at the end, like Chachi wakes up. It was all a dream, or was it? Ooh.
These happy days.
But I want to give a shout out. I've been watching this since he jumped the shark in early season 5. Every single episode has been directed by Jerry Paris.
Yeah.
Who co-star on the Dick Van Dyke Show, The Neighbor, Jerry Helper, directed a bunch of episodes of the Dick Van Dyke Show. I don't know of a sitcom nowadays that would have a single director doing I'm sure it's not a complicated setup. It's a very simple show to shoot, I'm sure. But go Jerry Paris for putting your stamp on some classic television.
I'm not saying that this string of episodes is not entertaining. It is very entertaining, but it is a lot of stupidity. Just like the craziest plots. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I think I can probably look some of these up on YouTube, so I might try to. I don't want to miss when it all goes downhill. I'm going to ride this peak.
And I want to look ahead to see when Arnold's gets burned down, but I don't want. I kind of want it to just happen organically. So I want to know, but I also don't want to know how much longer I've got.
Yeah, you want to just be like, "Ooh, what's happening?" Oh no, he left the oven on, or what? No, is a grease fire or something? Did he make burgers and then leave with a girl?
Something irresponsible like that.
Oh, it was classic Chachi. Wah wah wah.
He hasn't been saying that lately. They got away from the dumb catchphrase.
Get a little lazy. Ugh. I love it. We need to keep this up. When we run out of this, we're moving on to another sitcom to just binge watch.
I'm telling you guys, Three's Company is just lying there. That's the one.
I don't know.
I feel like if we're gonna pivot and change, we might as well just go full in.
Yeah.
We're just gonna become the rewatch podcast.
Yeah.
All right. Well, and you guys watch anything that wasn't on MeTV?
Hold on, let me check my notes.
No, you didn't.
A bunch of stuff on HBO, but
yeah, I did too. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about HBO. Last couple days I kept bringing this up because this is what I've been watching. Is from HBO Max, the new series called The Vow.
If we understood the world and if we understood ourselves, that's worth everything.
ESP Nexium is a methodology that allows people to optimize their behavior.
Nexium is the umbrella company. Keith was the founder.
He had the highest IQ in the world. He was a legend.
Our main belief is to have people experience more joy in their lives.
It's a worldwide organization.
LA has a center. San Francisco is building a center. Miami, London.
You will be as ethical as possible. You will be that which you want to see in the world.
When conventional solutions don't work, maybe the unconventional way of thinking does.
They've hacked the human brain.
I was looking around at all these people that just didn't seem joyful. I started to get concerned.
There's a group of women that have signed a vow. They've given things as collateral. And they're trying to recruit other women to do this.
There's a secret organization in Nexium. They sign a lifetime vow of obedience, and they're branding girls. I'm so strong. Like, you'd never be able to do what I just did.
If you believe I've done something good, that's important because I always want to earn my authority.
That we're currently 5 episodes into, And you recommended this.
I sent you a text. I said, I remember everybody talking about that cult.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, and the girl from
Smallville
getting involved in it and stuff. And I was like, hey, if you're interested in this, you need to watch this show.
Yeah, that first episode, I was like, oh, I'll give it a shot. We weren't watching anything, so I turned it on. That first episode, I was just kind of like, this is not that great. Not very. It wasn't catching my interest because it was just talking. It was giving you the history, the information of the group, how it started.
A documentary.
It was showing how you get it. It is okay.
I thought it was like a dramatization. I thought it was scripted.
This is a guy that was in it for like 15 years.
I think 12 is
was
what he
their
said.
their videographer.
Yeah.
So he just has endless footage.
Yeah.
And access.
He was from South Africa, and then he was a filmmaker, and then got introduced to this Keith Raniere. Is that right?
Raniere,
Raniere.
He's just a really smart guy, that Keith Raniere, that just classic cult leader.
Yeah.
He's very charismatic and just has a great way to twist things and make things sound, they're not like doing drugs or anything like that. It's all just like,
they don't live in
how
a
do you
compound.
be your best self.
Yeah. Take a class, this is, we'll teach you how to get the most out of your life type of deal, which sounds, like a lot of different things that I've seen commercials for.
It sounds like you're saying people in Hollywood have low self-esteem. So I just want to double check that that's what you're saying.
Yeah. But
we're using his footage is what it is.
It's a lot of access. Mm-hmm. This is what makes it to have the guy it's not a coincidence that he would want to make this, but when he's like getting out of it, he's like, well, I have all this footage, I'm going to use it. Yeah. And he's like showing, how the workings were, what was happening and things that because his job was to kind of like put them in a good light. So and the guy, I'm sure they were helping people.
Yeah.
You really got the vibe that you could say, like, here's something I worry about. And they're like, they fix that for you by talking about it, making you think about it a certain way, and you're not worried about it anymore.
Right.
It's like,
and this guy wasn't just the film guy. He was very involved with several factions of this group. Okay. They have the main one was called ESP. That's the stuff we're talking about. Then they had one that was SOP for learn how to be an alpha male and protect the women and that type of stuff. And then the one that made all the news was this secret DOS group that was involving Allison Mack and all these women. And we had talked about, when this was happening or coming out, the branding and this master-slave relationship these women were having. So, and of course they've tracked it, eventually they got to the point where, it started out, Keith doesn't know about this. This is just about empowering women and a sisterhood and a secret sorority type stuff. And then an episode or two later, we find out, he totally started this and was sleeping with all these women. So
you get branded with they're like, okay, this brand, this is all about the elements. This is a water, this is a mountain, and this is the earth or whatever, and yada yada. And then they're like, oh, if you turn this way, these are his initials. If you turn it the other way, it's Allison Mack's initials.
Yeah.
It's and you are branded. It ain't a tattoo. It is it's disgusting. It ain't even as nice as a nice Yellowstone. I like a good branding, a Yellowdale branding. This is not a pretty thing.
Yeah, we're not talking, not even like a cow,
No, not even a nice clean Ka-Pow.
No.
It's like, what, did you drip acid on these people or what?
Let me get this cauterizing iron and I'm going to write on you with it. So
well, you're already here. You came blindfolded and naked. So while you're here,
you might as well get this on your junk.
You know, it's great. It's great.
But it took a while to get to that point. There's a whole lot of stuff before that.
I would hope so. That's not your orientation.
Yeah, no, that's not day one stuff, okay? But the guy we're talking about, his name was Mark Vincenti, something like that. I don't know. And he's actually while he was in this group, he got introduced to and eventually married Bonnie, is it Peace, I assume?
I don't know.
It's an Australian name. She's the girl that played Aunt Beru in the Star Wars prequels movies.
She's like holding Luke.
Yeah.
Are you going to keep them down on the farms of Tatooine once they've been branded?
It's pretty crazy, and just how much they can get away with and things.
Yeah.
Did you see him with the Dalai Lama?
Yeah.
I don't like the Dalai Lama anymore after seeing that. I was like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Like I've always kind of respected it. And then I was like, the only bad thing I ever heard about him, he said something about women or something a year or two ago, kind of like they were secondary or something. I was like, the Dalai Lama? But then after seeing him with this guy and just like absolving him of everything, I'm like.
They had arranged for the Dalai Lama to meet Keith in this group or whatever, this company, as a way to like, hey, if we can get this
legitimacy
guy, it'll make us look really great, because we're getting all this bad press and people are calling us a cult, and the Dalai Lama's people canceled it because they're like, oh, this looks gross, and so they go and fly to meet with him because they have all this company has all this money they've taken from people, and then like the Seagram's people got involved, the heiress, and she's multi-millionaire and funding all this stuff. So they fly to meet the Dalai Lama, and then the Dalai Lama's just like, he basically looked at him.
He's innocent.
You have kind eyes. You could not have done this. You're telling me you didn't do this, so I believe you. And that was
he relates to it because the Chinese people trashed him or whatever. So,
right.
Yeah.
So,
anyway, the big thing is
allegedly.
Yeah, the big thing that was like, I thought, I can't understand the thought process of someone saying, okay, we're gonna have a slave master relationship. You're gonna have to text me to see if you can eat. Can I have 84 calories?
Right.
Okay, and you gotta wait for me to text. Yeah. So all these girls like Allison Mack, even, and she's like one of the leaders of that, is like starved.
Yeah.
They're all starving themselves in these master slave relationships. And when you get into them, monthly, you have to give them what they call collateral, like incriminating things that you've done.
Yeah.
Let them know secret information, take dirty pictures yourself. Anything they can blackmail you with later, you have to keep giving them this stuff.
And if you can't come up with anything, you just make something up. Just talk about bad
just
about
say
the family.
Shitty things about somebody and record it, send it to us so we can. It's collateral.
Yeah.
It's to keep you honest.
It's to keep you.
You know how you can't keep a secret? Make yourself have some consequences of not keeping that secret.
Yeah, it was it's crazy town.
I feel like that's been said about other quasi-Hollywood religions that they do similar.
Oh, they really relate it to Scientology. They're like,
I didn't say it; he said it.
Yeah. They related. They're like, you can't. Okay. They're like, you can't. You want to get away? Good freaking luck.
Yeah.
They're going to terrorize you.
But some of the names associated with this NXIVM group throughout the years, because it wasn't really anybody super famous, except for like that Kristen Kruick that was on Smallville also, but she apparently she got out before all this went down. She obviously saw, or somebody told her, you need to, exit.
You would think that that like a percentage of people are going to see through this garbage.
Mm-hmm. You would think. But Allison Mack, Kristen Crook.
Well, that's how they can go so far, because the only ones who stick with it are the ones who are really broken and really needy and really open to this. Anyone sane would have left again on the first day. So
the footage of Allison Mack meeting him was like, oh my gosh, he's very charismatic. He just freaking owned her in just a couple minutes.
Yeah, from the get-go. And the weird thing was like, when they were talking about, everybody goes to volleyball because Keith likes volleyball. And he's here in this crazy, like, 1980s headband with the long hair, this little, like, stubby... This little stubby guy looks like he's straight out of gym class. And they're all just worshiping everything he says. And I was just like, oh, how could you not see it? But Catherine Oxenberg's daughter, India, she was in it. Grace Parks, Sarah Edmondson was a big part of it. Nikki Klein, and I think that those were like all the major, like, if you saw them, you'd be like, oh yeah, I know them from that show, Battlestar Galactica or whatever. So that's what I've been watching the last couple days.
I got a couple documentaries too, if we're sticking on the documentary
fun ass documentaries.
Let's do it. I didn't even realize A&E's biography was still around. They're still making those, I guess.
I didn't know A&E was still around.
Yeah, it is. So I flipped past, and there was one on called I Want My MTV.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Ladies and gentlemen, rock and roll.
MTV has been heralded as fresh and innovative and criticized for being shallow.
When MTV first hit, this was the biggest talk in the universe.
MTV dropped a grenade into our world.
Everybody was watching MTV.
People had it on like the radio.
I want my MTV!
It made international stars almost overnight.
We had no idea what was going to happen because of MTV.
It gave a visual representation to the artist that they did not have before.
But you never looked at music the same way again?
It was a 2-hour documentary about the origins of the MTV channel and how it was created. And it was really interesting. It was the early days of cable. It was people not understanding, like, how would that even work? It's like, we can't have a channel just for kids. No advertisers would buy into that. It's just everyone was wrong about it from day one. And it interviewed a lot of the VJs from that time and how they found them and how it was all just done on a shoestring budget and just kind of slapped together, and they just figured it out on the fly. So it was really interesting. The one thing I didn't know was the famous catchphrase, I want my MTV, was because so few cable packages were including it.
Yeah.
They're like, they were putting on what they thought was a good show, but no, your local cable had to carry it first before you got seen. So they were only on in a few tiny markets. So one of the head guys knew Mick Jagger just from years in the music business. And he shows up and he's like, hey, can I get you to film something for me? He's like, you mean like a commercial? It's like, no, it's not a commercial. We just want you to say something about watching MTV. He's like, yeah, I usually get paid for that. So he slaps $1 on the table. He's like, here you go, $1, we're paying you. So they just throw a camera in there, and Mick Jagger says, hey, I want my MTV. They got Pete Townsend to do it, and Cyndi Lauper, and all these, Sting and the Police, and all these 80s stars. I want my MTV. And then it said, call your cable company. And they would, run it on local, other channels. So the I Want My MTV campaign wasn't even made for MTV. It was made to air on other channels. And it said they started getting floods of calls because, only the cool kids knew what MTV was. So teenagers started calling, hey, I want my MTV. And they said they basically just started putting it into packages so people would stop calling them. So it was a very successful advertising campaign, and still memorable to this day, of course.
Yep.
But it was like, I said it was 2 hours, but it was not nearly enough. Like I could have watched it much longer. It just kind of skimmed everything. And I've realized this about myself, that I will watch, if I'm even slightly interested in something, I will watch any amount of hours of like vintage film clips and talking heads talking about it who were there, like that Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance.
Mm-hmm.
That Ken Burns country music was 16 hours, and I would have watched even more of it.
I want as in-depth as possible. I don't like these superficial things that, like that high score video game.
It had the whole thing about when David Bowie came on, and had Mark Goodman, the VJ, was talking about it. And I've seen this clip around, and he's interviewing David Bowie, and he says, "I have a question for you, actually. Why don't you play very many black artists on this channel?" And the VJ's like, "Oh, well, it's demographics." Like he's trying to like defend MTV. It's like, and David Bowie just kind of sitting there like, "Yeah, okay." And then that talks about how like went into Yo MTV Raps. They put it on at 2 a.m. and it got huge. And it's like that was like 10 minutes of the show. It's like that to me that's worth a whole documentary in itself.
Right.
So yeah, it was very surface level. But that reminded me of another thing I watched. This was a while back. I think quarantine was still going on when I watched this, but it's called horror noir, which is not easy to say. A History of Black Horror. So it was made in 2019 for Shudder, the horror app. It aired, I forget what channel it aired on that I happened to see it, but it's on Amazon Prime right now. But it's basically, a documentary, the history of, African Americans in horror movies. And it talks to, of course, Jordan Peele. It starts with Get Out and like, look where we've come from these humble beginnings. So it interviews Jordan Peele, Keith David, Tony Todd, the people you would expect to talk to. But it goes all the way back to 1915, the birth of a nation, where a bunch of white people in blackface were the villains. The hordes of black people come into your town to take all the women. So, and then up through like the voodoo movies, all the zombie movies in the black and white era, where the voodoo priests were the villains. Up to 1968, Night of the Living Dead, and the famous, where the hero is an African American, and that wasn't written in the script. They just cast the best guy they had for the role, and then it became this giant, right in the midst of the civil rights movement. Up through 70s, blaxploitation movies like Blackula and all these movies. The 80s and the 90s, like how, all the tropes began, or the black guy's the first one to die, or they're just a sidekick. And then into kind of the 90s, where it kind of took off. Candyman, Tales from the Hood, Demon Knights, Attack the Block, Get Out. So it kind of, going from the where no representation whatsoever to much more in the more recent era. So just again, it just kind of scratched the surface of it. There could, I'm sure, even more to it, but it was, if you like horror movies at all, it was definitely an interesting look back.
Sounds good. There's a new show on HBO that I watched the first episode of. I think there's only 2 so far. It's a Ridley Scott show called Raised by Wolves.
Yeah. I'm interested to hear. I haven't watched it, but
it's not something I would have said, Cliff, or you would have got a message. But I could be wrong. I don't know how you are about sci-fi.
Yeah.
I mean, other than it's not Star Wars.
No, not at all.
This is like pretty hard sci-fi. It's Ridley Scott, so It's got that feel. That was good. The first episode was excellent. Production was great. It looked great. But it is hard and dark sci-fi, and I'm curious to see whether it can keep up what it started out with, the concept or whatever. But it was basically androids of some kind, like trying to populate this planet, and that they were taking care of like humans, and it was different.
Yeah, it looked different.
Very dark.
Like, I think I watched a trailer or commercial for it, and I was like, I have no idea what this is about.
We got to the end, it was like, whoa. That first episode, when you get towards the end, I'm like, wonder where they're going from here, because that was very gruesome. But it was good. I did watch all of Hard Knocks. There's 5 episodes or whatever I watched.
Was it good?
One day. Yeah, I mean, it was neat to watch. It was the Rams and the Chargers, and they're dealing with COVID restrictions and had their different training camps and how they dealt with it. And it was pretty neat. It was neat to see.
Yeah.
It's like, well, they've got the money to do it the right way. And for the most part, it looked like they did. It was neat to see the process of a major.
Yeah, I watched when football got ramped up again. I was watching footage. The Browns did a really good job of putting videos out there showing everything they were doing with COVID-19, all the precautions and everything. Turning the weight room into an extended locker room because they could only have so many players in the, distance, because they, all the lockers are like 6 feet or more apart. They had to move a bunch of them into their weight room facility, and then they took all the weight room stuff and put it into their field house, so they couldn't practice in the field house if it they had bad weather. So all their practices, there were 14 practices, but they were all done outside this year, no matter what. And there were a couple.
That's all these guys did. If they would have just like a enormous tent, open on the sides, and they'd lay down all the pads and put out all their weights out there. So you're working out basically under a tent. Just like, it was kind of neat. Like, look, it's like, wow, you guys just came up with this setup so quick to have all this stuff to do this right. It was like, they just have money to blow, apparently.
It was interesting though when they showed them packing up their offices in Berea for the Browns, and then everybody taking their stuff home with them, to set up, because they had to do virtual Zoom meetings just like we're doing right now. And Cleveland having a new coach come in, they were installing and basically having players going out in their yard, film themselves, and then send it to the coaches to get feedback on it. So, I mean, it was crazy stuff. But then when they got back into the building, everybody
is that what Uncle Rico was doing in Napoleon Dynamite?
Right. Watch me throw this football. I bet I can throw it over that mountain. Yeah. And he stayed back here and go.
Ahead of his time.
Yeah, he was. But it was neat how they gave him the little badges. Everybody has to wear that little badge that tracks every single person they come in contact with in that building. In case there is a problem, they can contact trace through that little badge. So that stuff was neat to me. I enjoyed that too. But man, that Rams new SoFi Stadium, the Rams and Chargers play in, whew, man, that thing is a palace. Absolute. They said it costs like $5 billion to build. So it was amazing. Sorry. Football sidebar. Well,
a couple of trailers dropped for some shows we're excited about, and one I didn't remember existed. There was a trailer for Hellstrom on Hulu. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
I think I do. I don't know what it is, but
based on the Marvel character who was originally named Son of Satan. There's a show coming out on Hulu October 16th. Marvel Studios presents Hellstrom. Did I miss something? I feel like I would have known that was happening, but I guess I forgot or didn't know.
Is this animated?
No, live action.
Okay, I hadn't heard of it. No.
So it's like, the original comic. It's Damien Hellstrom. They wanted to do the 70s. It was 1973, so Ghost Rider was big, Doctor Strange, all these mystical characters. They wanted to do another one, so they had Damien Hellstrom son of Satan, and his sister is Satana. They've popped up over the years. He was a member of the Defenders back in the day. So like, yeah, he has the, you know, these hellborn powers of mysticism and stuff. But the trailer made it look very generic. It was like, and there may be a twist later, but it was like he's the son of a serial killer. I think he has serial killer genes in him. So they have to like, and he's trying to solve this mystery. It looked like the most generic, like it looked like Lucifer on Fox and what's the brothers, the Winchester brothers, what's that? Supernatural. It looked like that. You know, it looked like a lot of other shows trying to serialize a, you know, supernatural dark mystery show. But again, just from the trailer peek we got, it could end up being good. But if you, like me, didn't know it was out there, it's coming very soon before any of the other Marvel shows are coming out. So I straight to Hulu, I guess.
Yeah.
Soon.
What do you guys think of the WandaVision trailer? Did you watch it?
Yeah, I saw it. I thought it looked good.
I didn't think there was a lot of. I mean, there was new footage, but it seemed to be right on par with what we had previously seen.
It looks like. I mean, I really feel like I have a vibe of what's happening here. Mm-hmm. I mean, there have to be like. I mean, well, I assume that this is just a build up to House of M. And it's like, what's her name? Catherine.
Catherine Hahn.
Yes, like her and other people in the show are like just like, watching Wanda, keeping Wanda contained. You know, like Wanda's must be just out of her mind. You know. Upset about Vision dying, and this is all just in her head or whatever. It's got to be, right? This is
supposed to lead into the new Doctor Strange movie, right?
I'm sure he is involved. He's probably, we'll find out, he has been like doing whatever to keep her in there. They've got her in some place, and she's like watching TV or whatever, or she's got, you know, mixed up something with some old TV things, and you know, but she's like, they're trying to contain her mind. She's freaking out about everything that happened to them. And she's created, just like she in the comics created them having kids.
Right.
She's created this thing to like calm herself. And they're waiting for her to lose her crap because she's so powerful. And Doctor Strange is helping. And then it's going to go into that, you know, multiverse stuff. And I feel like it's going to go into House of M.
I just had a flash that I'm not 100% sure that's not happening to me right now.
Whoa!
Somebody may have
watching
just put
Happy Days.
Somebody may have just put me in a house to watch Happy Days to just keep me calm.
Yeah.
To just get through whatever is going on, and they might be watching me right now via Zoom. Because I'm a little bit worried.
Because like that moment in the trailer where Catherine Hahn's like laughing or whatever, and Paul Bettany's like, "What are you laughing about?" She's like, "You're dead." Or no, she's like, "Am I dead?" And he's like, "Why would you say it?" She goes, "Because you are." You know.
Yeah.
It's like because he's got to be fake. You know, it's all in Wanda's head, which sounds
and
cool.
I'm not sure a full season of that is what I want to watch.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Full season, you know, where we don't know what's real and what's not real. You know, then it becomes Legion, that FX show, and then it's like it's just all a head trip. Yeah. Like a little bit of that would be very cool, but I think stretch it out too long, you're gonna lose.
This looks a little more fun than Legion, though. Like I like the idea of it's going to be fun.
I don't think it's going to be very many episodes. I don't anticipate any of these Marvel limited series being very many episodes.
Oh yeah.
So we had the announcement today. They're also going to be doing a Sam Jackson's coming back for to do a Nick Fury series on Disney Plus also. So, and Falcon Winter Soldier. Did you guys see the Instagram post where we got Falcon's new costume, looking a little bit more like his Captain America costume in the comics? So, but that's been delayed until 2021. Big surprise. And then, speaking of trailers, the one I got excited about just today, coming to Netflix, Father of the Bride 3, guys.
Not what I was expecting you to say, but
you could have freaking given me 1,000 guesses.
I'm engaged. I'm getting married.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Hey! Oh!
Just kidding.
Grandpa. Mother and daughter are pregnant together? Oh, that is fabulous. I love that. That's chic.
George, we're all here. Come on. George, Maddie said it was important.
I'm just washing my hands. One more happy birthday to go.
I love the original, not the original.
Martin Short is still alive.
And so is Steve Martin.
He could come set up a wedding.
So Netflix released a trailer for Father of the Bride 3. All the original
You say
cast,
that, just the way you say that, like that's the most epic
it's amazing
words ever uttered.
Father
of the Bride 3.
I'm so excited.
I remember liking those. They were like nice movies back in the
early 90s.
Mid 90s, early 90s, yeah.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, I didn't dislike it. I thought the daughter was really hot.
Yeah. She's married to Brad Paisley now.
Okay.
Kimberly Williams. Yeah, I love the first one, really like the second one. If it is on, you can, and somebody in my household runs across it on, network television at any point, you can guarantee we will stop and watch that movie. We all love it. So
Which one?
I really like the first one. Second one's pretty good too, though.
What was Martin Short's name in that?
Frank.
Yes. And didn't he have a sidekick?
Yes, played by B.D. Wong. And his name was something.
Something probably racist.
No, it was. It was actually, I can't remember the character's first name, but his last name was Weinstein, because it was supposed to be cast to be like a Jewish character, and B.D. Wong came in. I can't believe I even know this. Came in and did the audition.
Oh yeah, Jordan and I can't either. We can't believe you know this.
And
that's so crazy.
They loved him so much for it that they kept the character name as it was and just cast him in the role. So.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
So, man, why don't we watch that trailer reveal?
Well, it's only a teaser.
Video.
We don't have
any. The only people doing a Father of the Bride 3. Sorry, a Father of the Bride 3 reaction trailer.
Yeah. Cue Thunderstruck.
Well, we were talking Disney Plus and all these big action things coming up, and then you got real happy. You're like, oh, guys, there was a new other trailer. I thought you were going Mandalorian, but you swerved on us. So,
curveball.
Okay, were you more excited about Mandalorian or Father of the Bride?
Well, I was more excited.
Father of the Yoda 1.
I was more excited about the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer because I knew it was coming. I had no idea about the Father of the Bride 3 anything. So they just no word, just dropped it, and I was like, are you kidding me? But
what was in the Mando trailer? I forget. There's the way.
It had the skinny
Gina Cunano.
Yeah. She's gotten herself into some trouble on Twitter.
It took me a second, but I'm following.
No, it had skinny Gamorrean guards fighting in a boxing ring with axes.
They don't start out fat.
Apparently not. Who knew? So I
get
was
fat after you have that cushy job at Jabba's palace.
Right. You get lazy regarding
Just lean on your axe. Lean on your axe all day.
Yeah, you let the Rancor do all the heavy lifting. So, but yeah, the big takeaway I think for most people was of course, it's the Cyclops guy is in there, and then
that's all I've heard anyone talking about.
Yeah, the Cyclops.
That guy.
And then everybody kind of is converging onto the Mando in this fight place. It looks like this boxing ring place, and then we see him hit the switch on his little gauntlet there, and the what was the bird weapon? Whistling birds.
I don't know. I watched it on YouTube, and then I scrolled down to this. Just ruined it. I scrolled down to the comments, and it was all very positive, but it was just a sea of people trying to impress other people with how much they knew about Star Wars.
Yeah.
And all the comments were like, "Oh, love how he used the bird of prey," and oh, that's a great phaser weapon when you use the plasma blast. And it's like, oh my gosh, people, just watch the show. There's a Cyclops guy. We're having fun.
That's right.
But they knew all the planets. Like, oh man, that was a great scene approaching planet Lebedaba. It's like, oh, wow, that's people who really need strangers to know how much they know.
I was going to say that I was pretty sure that was Lebedada. I just was a little disheartened by the quote I heard from somebody involved that things are going to really heat up in season 4.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like that one of the creators were some, I forget who it was, but it was just like really going to find stuff out in season 4. It's like, what?
Well, I was hoping to kind of lean on you guys a little bit for this, but there's all these big news stories saying that the man, what's the actor's name?
Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
See, I don't even know the guy's name. I would go onto YouTube and comment. Yeah,
we got a one-eyed guy. We're just having fun here.
But there were a bunch of reports that he had quit the show in like the middle of it. Like I was seeing this all over the place.
I never heard that.
And there's big rumors going around that he had quit the show and they were just using stuntmen. But I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense. He's still got to do the voiceover or whatever. But I don't know. Maybe it's just 4 episodes of him going, this is the way. This is the way. So.
I had a customer this week tell me or ask me if I heard about George Lucas, how he had gotten the, again, very few details, not a YouTube level fan, but he had gotten the lady in charge fired and he was coming back and was going to make his own trilogy the way he was going to do it originally, but now he's doing a whole new trilogy. And had I heard that? And I said, no, I had not heard that, but I'm very interested to know more.
Please
Are there rumors?
Sir,
are there
put down your
that
baseball bat.
Odin doesn't like a Star Wars lady in charge.
I'm sure it was a couple pieces of news. Like, why would George Lucas ever come back? They wouldn't invite him back.
Yeah,
he wouldn't do. It just didn't make any sense to me.
No, this is.
Pretty sure he has to give the $4 billion back.
You're right. Yeah, this is the state of the Star Wars fans all hating Kathleen Kennedy and the new, anything Rian Johnson had to do with Star Wars. And
I just remembered something.
What?
I'm recommending a podcast called Dead Eyes. There's a podcast called Dead Eyes. I don't want to give too much away, but it's this comedian, Connor Ratliff.
Mm-hmm.
You've seen him in things. He's plays very small roles, but
that's why he has a podcast.
He's doing a podcast because he had gotten a role in Band of Brothers, Okay, a small role in Band of Brothers, and at some point he had to do an audition again for Tom Hanks, and Tom Hanks fired him because he had dead eyes, and he like heard it secondhand through his agent or whatever. That's why, and he did this podcast. Now the whole first season of it is out. It's like 10 episodes or whatever. Tim talking to people about it, and he's trying to figure out why if that's why Tom fired him. He wants more information or whatever. So he's trying to talk to everyone involved. It's one of those like living history of like, let's talk at it from every angle. What happened, and there's a bunch of people on it, big names on it. And it's excellent. It's a very interesting podcast to listen to this guy talk about that very trivial event that may or may not have greatly affected his life.
Connor Ratliff?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, it says under his credit, the George Lucas Talk Show TV series 2020.
I don't know. He
was in Search Party, Unbreakable,
on TBS.
Kimmy Schmidt. Yeah. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, a bunch of other little
things. But one of those people that probably gets cut out of a lot of movies because he has such small parts, things. But he's respected by his peers. They all, but some pretty decent names on it. But like in the process of the talking that out, he is saying things. And some big star will call in and say, well, actually, that's not exactly what happened. And they'll say something and then say, oh, I felt awkward about this situation. And somebody else will be like, some other stars like, well, actually, this is what happened to, that, and makes them feel better about it because they know details or whatever. And it's good. So it's a neat little chain of events as it goes. And it's interesting.
Yeah, I've got it pulled up here. So, but yeah, The Mandalorian season 2 trailer came out along with a.
You said something that reminded me. You'll know when you listen to the podcast.
Entertainment Weekly also released some new images from the upcoming season, also, which will be out October 30th on Disney Plus.
And is all that Baby Yoda merchandise out on store shelves finally? Just when the heat had died down.
Yeah, just in the nick of time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's been flooded into the retail stores now. It's pretty much everywhere. So yeah, all that stuff happened when we watched it.
Cool. We watched it for you out there. We watched it for us in here. That's what we do things. That's our motivation. We're here for you.
Yes.
If you want to be here for us, you can become a patron, right, Cliff?
That's right. $1 a month. You can just click the little patron button. If you have the Podbean app on our show, it'll come up. It'll say reward in red, and you just click that and sign right up there. Or you can go to our website, www.udownwithkpp.com. And you could be illustrious like Michael.
No mention of what is he. We're going to just keep it mysterious. You'll never know. If Michael might be here, he might not. You'll just have to tune in to find out.
That's right.
Yeah, $1. That's all it takes.
You too can be in on the number 3 podcast in Cambodia.
You're right. We forgot how to end these things.
We don't know what we're doing.
We've gotten further away and further and further.
300 episodes, and I feel like we're back to square one.
All right, guys. There are no small parts. There are only small podcasts. My name is Jordan Lowe.
Cliff Barnes.
What's up? Bye forever.
Ka-Pow, the pop culture podcast, is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Sounds, music, and clips played during the podcast are property of copyright holders. All original content is property of www.udownwithkpp.com. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a comment. Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast, is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, and wherever podcasts can be found. You can connect with us through social media on Facebook, YouTube, at the Ka-Pow Podcast on Twitter, or email the show, Ka-Pow, the Pop Cultured Podcast, at gmail.com. If you really want to go the extra mile, please sign up to be a patron through the Podbean app or our website, www.udownwithkpp.com, to receive special content and early access to some episodes. We are grateful to anyone that chooses to contribute, but please know that most of our content will always remain free, so please continue to like, comment, and share.